My name is Cynthia Rojo. I came into EDFN 4010 thinking, of course I understand racism. I've been in Denver public schools my whole life. I am a student of color, and here I am now in the process of becoming an educator, one with two immigrant parents, and wanting to be a teacher for an ELA S classroom. Whiteness cannot be in me. I broke out of that racist chain. I have faced firsthand discrimination. I understand racism. The first question Dr. Matias asked was, why do you want to be an educator? I thought, easy, to give back to the community that watched me grow up. When she later on shared, but what do you owe? I was stuck. I did not know what to say. While the class discussion directed to speak about the white saviors, I sat there thinking, well, yeah, but I'm not white. My guilt does not come from the ancestors that were colonizers. And that is when I began to feel my first feeling brought by whiteness. This is a document I wrote my freshman year of college. I thought I was freshly out of the system that oppressed for so long. When my professor asked for us to write an appeal on something we felt strongly about, I thought about the issue that had impacted my whole life, immigration. Note that this was not the first letter I had written to the White House. However, this was the angriest, the most bitter, and shameful towards our system that I had ever written. The feelings a young teen can be expressed after being oppressed for so long. The first line states, America has no race, because how I had wished it was that way. But how could I have been so bitter? Enough for me to disacknowledge a reality and become colorblind. Perhaps I was hopeless, perhaps even tired of fighting off something I thought wouldn't ever change. This was a letter response to an 11-year-old child, one who asked for equality and for the rights of her family that they did not have, one who had hope. Now this is a letter response for a 19-year-old. As you read, you'll understand why she became hopeless and so angry. Going back to Dr. Matias's question, what did I take that I owe? Where exactly does my guilt come from? This. My whiteness was having the privilege to think I had done enough. My guilt was in normalizing a system that broke me, accepting it. My whiteness also came along in thinking I had broken the chain, in celebrating my high school diploma to an extent because I beat the system, because I wasn't supposed to even graduate. Props to that. When did I become a bitter individual who blinded herself and only became aware of racism when it was to an extent? When did I accept stereotypes and even celebrated them after I felt I had broken them? After realizing that a person of color can too face whiteness, I became aware. I figured, instead of anger, what am I doing to stop this racism? I started to make noticings. I reopened my 11-year-old eyes, and I became aware. In shows, in social media, and even in my site school. Racism should never be normalized. Now, if I may get asked again, why do you want to be an educator? I would respond in, I would like to be an educator to be the voice and the hope, the person who sees my kiddos as humans, to not strive for equality but rather equity, to expose myself to their culture, and to welcome it into my classroom. I want to be an educator to be able to tell my students, I understand you, but we do not want to break from the chain. Instead, we want to change that chain. I want to teach my children to remain hopeful.